Welcome back to the PFPod, the podcast where we break down the action, haunting strategy, and chilling excitement of robotics competitions like First and beyond.
From last-minute pit fixes to heart-stopping final moments, we're here to talk about what makes robotics scarier than life.
Whether you're a builder, coder, vampire, or just love the thrill of a last-second scare, we've got stories, insights, and maybe a few battle scars to share.
So let's gear up, dive in, and descend into the spooky world of competitive robotics. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to Season 2.
It's Halloween!
Woo! Welcome if you're new here. If not, thanks for coming back for another season. In case you forgot, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Max.
And we're bringing you a Halloween-themed episode. So we actually dressed up for this episode. If you didn't notice, I'm Dozer from the FTC game release videos. Personal favorite robot. And Max here, we've got T-Rex.
Yeah, I'm a dinosaur. Not sure the exact subspecies, but dinosaur for sure.
Dinosaur. That works for me. And this episode, we're actually going to be covering a few different Halloween-themed topics. Starting off with horror stories sent in from PFP members, things that you'd never want to see in First, and scary things on robots. So, hopefully you don't get as scared as Max just got, but we're going to be diving into the horror stories.
And before we begin, here's a little PFP disclaimer. We want to clarify that we did shorten some of these submissions just for the sake of time. So if you do want to submit any other First-related stories for future episodes, be sure to check out our link tree and look for the PF portal. The link tree can be found on our website, the description below, and our Instagram bio at Purdue FIRST.
I think that's a new update. All
right, I guess let's just dive right into these.
All right.
So first one we have here is from a quick story from an anonymous FTC alum. The robot's battery fell off during a match and hit the off switch on the way down, but stayed plugged into the robot. Oh, they got so lucky and so unlucky at the same time. We changed how the battery was attached after that. LOL. Yeah, probably a good call, but yeah, that's definitely a bummer in the moment.
One time a sister team, they built an arm and they attached their kill switch at last minute right before the competition and put it where the arm extends. So when the arm went out, it kind of flipped. But when it flipped over, turned them off. And there they were. It happens to everyone, I guess. All right, here we go. This one comes from a Texas FRC alumni. They said, my team, 9289 from Houston, had our first ever event at 2023 Week 1 in Waco. Pure chaos. Oh, gosh. We left with our drivetrain and elevator still separate, nearly got hit by a semi, and arrived with 10 people trying to finish the robot, code it, and pass inspection. Then a tornado warning hit, cramping everyone into a dusty rodeo stadium with no cell service. When we finally tested the bot, a motor caught fire just before inspection closed, and we fixed it with minutes to spare. The event went about as well as you'd expect, but we survived, and now we've qualified for state. Huge thanks to team 6800 Valor? Valor? We'll go with Valor for helping us out. Yeah.
Sounds like a horror story for sure. Kind of series of cascading events after events, kind of everything going wrong as it could. But seems like they worked that out well and ended up making state. So
yeah,
all is well that ends well.
Week 1, I bet that's the worst you're going to see. So it only goes up from there. I really thought when it was going into the rodeo stadium, I was like, oh, God, tornado hit them? What's going to happen?
I'm sure that was definitely a memorable first event. I'm glad they stuck with it a little bit and kind of kept on going. Because after that one, I don't know if I would have.
It would have been easy to quit.
Yeah, so.
I mean, that almost got hit by a semi-truck on the way there.
So kudos to them for kind of staying strong and getting all things working at the end there.
I feel like the moral of the story is everyone has a bad competition or two.
For sure. Our next story here is from Munster, Indiana, where an FTC alum submitted, in the last match of the day, our robot got hit and our frame and intake broke. And we were the first match for the next day. I bet that was a long night trying to make sure all those things worked. As soon as the venue tried to kick them out, no, please, 10 more minutes, please.
We've all been there.
But hopefully they got everything working again for the next morning.
All right, another story here from FRC in Indiana. Finn's really pulling in with the stories here. This happened my freshman year, and it still gets brought up every season. Another freshman and I built our robot's intake plate from what we thought was polycarb, clear, strong plastic, right? Mm-hmm. We found a clear sheet in the back, cut it, drilled it, and proudly mounted it. At our first comp, everything worked great until a sharp turn sent the intake plate shattering into 1,000 pieces. The announcer went, "Team name, yikes," and just stared in horror. Turns out we'd used acrylic, basically glass, pretending to be plastic. We rebuilt it with real polycarb that night, and ever since, acrylic has been banned from the shop.
See how that mistake could have easily happened, but wow, I can't imagine the field going, whoa, and everything kind of going into a billion pieces.
That must have been a rough one.
But glad they got through it.
I bet the field reset crew had a real good time.
Yeah, definitely had to break out the vacuum for that one, probably. Our next story is from our very own city, an FRC team here in Lafayette, Indiana. And they said, "I was our robot operator in 2022, the year with the hanger-style climb." I believe that was Rapid React. No, that was...
You're the FRC specialist.
Yeah, it was Rapid React. First locked in. Appreciate it from the back there. So our robot used pneumatic arms to swing between the bars, which made for some wild moments. During one match, another robot climbed onto the same bar just as we hit the peak of our swing. The bar flexed, and our robot fell straight onto its pneumatics panel. The other team wasn't at fault, but the damage was brutal. Intake and climber never quite worked right again, and ever since that, I refused to use pneumatics on a robot. Well, that's a bummer. I think pneumatics are always good. Hopefully that didn't kind of set you aside from them, but I see how that could have kind of made you a little bit upset for sure.
I'm surprised they didn't explode.
Yeah, our robot definitely fell from the climb there once when in that same kind of situation, but we were able to kind of piece everything back together for the most part.
Yeah, you gotta make it work at the end of the day. It is what it is.
For sure.
All right, this one is another story from just around here. This one's from West Lafayette. FRC as well. It says, "So there I was between matches, scrolling reels, as one does, and feeling good about our robot. I'd made the belly pan myself, 6 bolts holding an aluminum sheet to protect the electronics. Sounds all good. Should have double-checked the strength, but didn't. The second match starts great, till our robot slams into another and dies on the spot. After the match, I see our entire belly pan on the ground, rivets sheared off, wires hanging everywhere. We spent lunch rebuilding and somehow got it working again. TLDR, don't use rivets unless you know how strong they are."
Well, seems like it all worked out in the end there, but definitely annoying for that one match.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Things
That sucks,
happen,
though. Yeah.
for sure. Now, those were some horror stories. That reminded me of some things I would never want to see in a first game.
That would be tough. That would definitely not be it.
Speaking of, what are some other things you would never want to see in a first game?
Sand. I feel like if I had a robot that had to handle sand, I'd be like, taking the season off.
Yeah, or water. I believe these are all submissions from some of our lovely PF people. So sand and loose objects that can get caught in the robot, water, definitely that would not be great for sure.
That'd be rough.
Next one is ice rink. So like ice skating robots, imagine autonomous. It's a lot of sliding around.
I can
That'd be
only
cool,
imagine.
so.
That'd be crazy. I'd hate to be programming for that.
Yeah, so a lot of kind of different floors now we're talking to.
We got more liquids here, different varieties of liquids.
They also say temperature restrictions. That would be scary. Not really sure what that means actually, but wanted to shout them out. So whoever said that, appreciate you.
Imagine if you had to like play your robot in like a dome and it was like 100 degrees inside.
Yeah, it'd be hot.
Like your 3D prints would all melt.
This next one with a human player on the field actually somewhat
We've
did
seen that
happen in
before.
Steamworks.
Yeah.
They were elevated, on an elevated platform, but they were definitely still up there on the field, kind of adjusting things around. So was that the first human player? Second, they added a 5th person to drive team for that one. So I'm not exactly sure about that. We can fact check me. I don't know. But that was cool. Nets or other things maybe that the robot could get tangled in. Yeah, getting the robot kind of stuck on the field.
Like some human soccer between human player and robot with the nets.
For sure. And speed bumps. Another thing that kind of happened once
we've
before.
We've definitely seen that.
Was it Stronghold? Was that the one with the...
I feel like we've seen that multiple times.
Wait,
like
here, cut.
Fact check.
Cut.
Let's see.
Cut. Yeah, bang. It was Stronghold.
Yeah.
So yeah, fire. Yeah, so some of these things actually have occurred before. A little before some of these people's times. These were also before I joined my FRC team, but they were like the year before and the year before that. So we still had a lot of people on the team who kind of told me some of their stories from those years.
I feel like some of these things they might bring back around, like after they've been out for a while. Something new-ish.
Yeah, it's definitely a cyclical thing to some nature. Every 10 years or so, that kind of repeat. There's only so many different ideas.
Those sounded truly terrifying, but never mind the things that I wouldn't want to see in a first game. Let's move on to things that I wouldn't want to see on a robot. I guess I'll start first. These are also actually submissions. So let's see what we have. We have Air Tank. Cooper saw a robot explode at IRI.
Improperly covered batteries. And I actually have a fun little timely story for that one. I don't think anyone else here knows about this, but my freshman year was deep space, and we had a little four-bar arm that kind of rotated up and down, allowed to move the game pieces. And our battery was conveniently located right underneath where the 4-bar stopped. So our safety officer was at Disney World during our district championships.
Oh, no.
So little freshman Max was like, "Oh, you'll be good. You've been showing up to meetings. Threw you in the pit. I had a little safety bucket. I was all there, excited. Woohoo! I get like a fun little job." A lot of teams had some battery leaks, so I already handed out a lot of our supplies to other teams who needed them, like one of our neighbors. And then we get back from a match. I'm like, what's this thing on our battery here? Turns out our arm been smashing into our battery.
No.
Ended up piercing it. We had to borrow another team's kit. We gave out our kit. It was a whole thing. But
oh, gosh.
definitely good to cover your batteries and not put them in a place where a moving object goes and hits it every single time. Could have been cool to know. But yeah.
That'd be bad. That'd be real bad.
Next thing here, we have pieces dangling off the robot. Yeah, moving parts that shouldn't move are never great.
Yeah, that's fair. What's the engineering flow chart? It's like, should it move? And if it's yes, it's like, well, does it move? And then no, add WD-40. And if it shouldn't move and it's moving, you add duct tape.
Or zip ties, which leads to our next one, only using zip ties to hold everything together. So
I hate to admit this, but one year we showed up to a scrimmage and we had a drivetrain. We had a new design philosophy we were working towards. So we had drivetrain and we had all the stuff that goes on top of the drivetrain. And our head of mechanical, he had a latex allergy. And it was always a gamble on if the area would be safe for him. And so we show up to the school and they had balloons in the lobby. So immediately our mechanical lead could not come even into the competition. And now I'm a freshman. My the person I was working with was also a freshman, and we're like, what the heck do? We have a robot in 2 pieces and we need to pass inspection. So there we were with our zip ties. We zip tied the top onto the bottom and it barely stayed together.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I remember my senior year when we got to Worlds, we added just a bunch of weight to our robot to make it a little bit heavier. We held it on with some duct tape, zip ties, a C-clamp, but if it fits, it ships.
Words of wisdom right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, some scary things.
Next one here are swerve wheels, but they are flat. They just don't stop. So I guess they just kind of worn out their wheels a little bit too much. Not great.
Yikes.
And then
this one is 3 digits on a robot. You just know they're a good team and they're an old team.
Yeah, for sure.
They got some
Always
experience.
have some good teams there.
Personally speaking, the number one thing I never want to see on a robot is fire.
Yeah, that's a good one. I have never seen a robot. Oh, that's actually not true.
Oh, gosh.
We were volunteering here in Galactech, which we have a lot of alumni on our org here. They had a little bit of an electronics issue. I don't think so. I think it was at Jeff, though. I don't remember if it was the States at
field
Jeff.
Reset, and my field reset door was stuck, and they were like, we need to get on the field with the fire extinguisher. I was like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That was my first time. That must have been That might have been B3 because it was my first time.
It was at Jeff. I remember.
Oh,
I don't know. It was an event local here, but it was fun for sure. Not great.
I used to watch robot fails, and I on those ones, those robots are like in flames. But
yeah, fire's never great unless it's an added mechanism. Never know.
I feel like we have the NASA philosophy on fire. Like fire is bad.
Yeah, for the most part, it's not great, but sometimes it's fun. Like a little bonfire, always a good time. Maybe
I think
no
that's
robots
the only
involved.
category that robots and fire only for team bonding.
Yeah, I'm going camping this weekend. I'm excited to make a little fire in our very safe fire pit and extinguish it before we go to bed. So
no fire, no forest fires here.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we couldn't end the episode without adding some scary stories of our own. So I'm gonna share. One time we were at a competition, and this one was not close to home, so we're all in hotels. And our coach, Mr. Rex, said he always would have the team rosters, and in the morning he would go and check our team in. So, we show up at the venue. It's probably like 7 something in the morning. We're all groggy and we're all like, where's Mr. Beckstead, guys? We're like, oh, I don't know. He's a guy that's always on time. Like, I don't think Mr. Beckstead has ever been late. So we're like, interesting. I don't know where he is. So, probably half an hour goes by and some of the parents are like, you guys seen Mr. Beckstead? This man wears a neon green suit, so it's kind of hard to miss. Yeah, pretty close. And we're like, all right, no, give him a call. Phone goes to voicemail. We're like, okay, great, guys. We're going to need to find somewhere to print our team roster out. This should be great. So about 2 hours later, Mr. Beckstead appears, and his alarm never went off. And he is our lead coach, so we had quite the morning there. So I guess the moral of the story is that's a new fear to add to your competition day is your coach's alarm not going off.
Similar story to that one, but I was actually an alumni at this point, volunteering at my very first FRC competition. Had a late night, made sure to set my alarm for the morning because I cannot be late, it's bright and early. I slam into the wall next to my lofted bed, and I'm like, what time is it? I feel really well rested right now. And I look at my phone, and I see like 12 Slack messages from the person who was driving me, and I was like, and I was actually only like 30 minutes after I should have woken up, so it wasn't too bad, but she just left, and she had to come back and pick me up to go, and I felt so bad. That was the only time I ever overslept in my entire life.
Ever?
I'm super anal about making sure my alarms are set, locked in, and that diligent. But
Weird.
it turns out I set the alarm for PM, so I had it set for 5:45 PM.
We're opposites.
Brutal.
I am not a morning person.
Yeah, so sorry, Sam. It's on me.
You're a G for that, for coming back.
I appreciate you coming back to get me. And that was a good time volunteering. Feel reset.
Yeah.
First time. Picking up all the game pieces. Fun times.
All right, now that I've got my Halloween costume on, I am ready to go trick-or-treating, I think, if it's still on. And but before we close out here, we do want to have a quick say from post-editing Sam.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the PF Plug. This week, we're plugging Boiler Bot Battle, or B3. This is our annual off-season event, bringing teams back to the Purdue area since 2017. From October 18th and 19th, 2025, teams will arrive on Saturday, unloading their robots and practicing matches, or on Sunday, you'll want to be there at 7:45 a.m. and spend all day there for our opening ceremonies, qualifying matches, alliance selection, and playoffs. This is going to be at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds, and we look forward to seeing you. For more information, you can visit purduefirst.org or click the link down in the description. Now, back to the pod.
Well, thanks, Sam. That was some great stuff. I'm so excited for Halloween now. This has to have you got all in the spooky spirits. But now we have to say goodbye. PF parting and such we sorrow. See you guys next time.
Happy Halloween!